Let's try to say something here a little bit about Sukkos in Halachic and in Agodah. Now, in Halachic, the Gemara says like this. The Gemara says, "And that Chof Chesam Beis in Sukkot." What's our Mishnah? It says like this: Kol Shivas Yomim, 7 days. Or the Moshe Sukkos Kva. Person makes a sukkah that's a deer as Kva Obeisei Aroi, and his house is temporary. Yorduk Shomim. If it starts to rain on Sukkos, what's Halachic? When is a person is allowed to leave the sukkah? Once the porridge starts to spoil, it's raining in and the soup is spoiling, so what's halacha? He's allowed to leave the sukkah. Moshe, remember the Gemara says like a servant that wanted to pour water for the king, for his master. When the master comes in, pours out the kitum, pours it out al ponov. That is it to say, I don't want your service. I don't want your. If it rains on Sukkot, Tzarai, the Rabbi is saying, I don't want. All right, but what did the Mishnah say? The Mishnah said here, along this, the Mishnah says that if it starts to rain on Sukkot, the amount that it spoils the porridge in the soup, what's the halacha? You're allowed to leave the Sukkot. Now, famous kasha on this Mishnah, the Ran in the back of the Gemara, and the Gemara kasha. The Ran says, I don't understand. What do you have to give me a shiur? What do you have to give me an amount of tisrach mikveh? We have another Gemara, that Chovov Ameral, a famous halacha Gemara, it's halacha Shulchan Aruch, mitztayer is poter min hasukah. A fellow who's a mitztayer, it bothers him. Okay, there's bugs, there's mosquitoes. It bothers him. What's halacha? Mitztayer is poter from sukkah. So Gemara will learn from a posik, Bas Sukkos teishvu shivas yomim. Teishvu ke'ein todu. You sit in the sukkah the way you'd sit in your house. In your own house, if it's raining, if there's bugs, you would leave this room, you go someplace else. That's the portion. So mitztayer, we learn out teishvu, sit in the sukkah ke'ein todu, the way you would sit in your house. And you're a potter. If it's mitztayer is potter min sukkah. No. So what do I need a shiur of tisrach hamikveh? Why does Mishnah have to say, if it rains, the amount it would be enough to spoil the porridge, then I'm allowed to leave? Listen, it bothers me a little bit rain. Forget about the porridge. What's my up with soup though? It bothers me a little rain. I'm potter, I'm a mitztayer. What does the Mishnah have to give me a special shiur of tisrach hamikveh? Bullshit, let the Mishnah say, if you're a mitztayer from rain, you're potter. Just like the Gemara, Chavah, the Ram brings it. Mosquitoes, a bad smell, there was an odor in the sukkah. What is this? Not Chavah, there was a potter. Starke kasha, a good kasha. Those frick the Ran. This is the Ran's kasha. In the back of the Gemara. Says the Ran ateretz. He says, I want to say a chiddush. Says the Ran ateretz, a chiddush. Says, you're right. The fellow's a mitztayer. Any amount of rain, any amount, he's potter. Chiddush is, if you're in the sukkah, once you're already there, it's not right to leave. It looks like you're buoyant. It looks like you're kicking the sukkah, you're running out. Until the shiur of tisrach hamikveh. If it'll be enough to spoil the porridge, then you leave. But until then, once you're in this sukkah, das passt nicht. So again, you're right. If it's a child to go into the sukkah, we say even a little amount, it bothers you, listen, every person that's relative to him bothers you, you're potter. But if the pshat is you're already inside the sukkah, then it doesn't look good. Remember the Gemara now by the Zohar, which is not lost in love with the Goyim, that the nation is going to be given mitzvah sukkah and go in and they're going to be buoyant. That's a problem. All right, this is the Ran's chiddush. Now it could be, maybe we want to try to say another teretz on the Ran's kasha. Klor. The Ran asked the kasha, what do I need a shiur of tisrach hamikveh? Mitztayer is poter min sukkah. That was the Ran's kasha, and the Ran's teretz is chiddush. Maybe we can say noch a teretz like other rishonim. Let's go like this. Now we know from the Achronim, famous. The Gemara says teishvu kein taduru. If you're a mitztayer, you're poter from sukkah. It's poter min sukkah. Now we know from the Ragat Shover going Sofnas Paneach al Harambam and other Achronim say this. Maybe we know that Yorduk Shamim, if it rains, it's potter. Mitztayer, it's all your potter. Is that the real p'tur of Mitztayer? When it rains on Sukkot, is that the simple p'tur of Mitztayer? Mitztayer is potter in a Sukkot. It's not Teishvu Ke'ein Taduru, you're potter. Is that the pshat? Every Yod Kshamim is a simple mitzvah, and whatever mitzvah is but it's not came to duru. Yod Kshamim is potter on sukkah. Is that the pshat? That's a nice pshat, or maybe not. Maybe it's two separate halachas. There's one halacha called mitzvah is potter on sukkah. The sukkah bleibt a sukkah. The sukkah remains a Shem sukkah. It's a ptur in the Maisi Yeshiva. You are potter from sitting, but it's not keim taduru. But if it's Yod Kshamim, if it remains on sukkah, it's for it to say Ein Shem sukkah olav. It loses the Shem sukkah. It loses the chefze from sukkah. Now we'll see this in a minute. Gemara says on Chavov, different halachas of mitzvah. Remember I told you with the mosquitoes and the bad smell. Daf Chavov Omer Al. You have to wait for Chav Ches on the base. Chav Ches on the base is the laws of Yod Kshamim if it rains on sukkah. You couldn't put the halachas together. This is Chavov and this is a Mishnah Chav Ches. Rambam, Perikei from Hilchos Sukkah, brings the halachas of mitzvah. 10 halachas later, the halacha of Yod Kshamim. It rains on sukkah. Ask the Ragged everyone what's the matter. You can't put together Yod Kshamim with mitzvah. It would seem from Rambam. Maybe it would seem from the Gemara. It's two separate halachas. There's one halacha called mitzvah. It's bleibt a sukkah. It's a shame sukkah, or it's a ptur in the Maisi Yeshiva. Potter. Ein not came taduru. But maybe if it's Yod Kshamim, Ein Shem sukkah of the Vilner Goyin. Tonight is the yard site from the Vilner Goyin says in Bir Hagro. Kishe Yod Kshamim. If it rains on sukkah, Ein Shem sukkah olav. It's a pshat, it's a sukkah, but it's a ptur in the yeshiva. Ein Shem sukkah, it's not a Shem sukkah. Says the Ragged over to answer Avel's kasha. The only Yomtev asked the famous kasha. Now in Shulchan Aruch you'll look, it says in the Ramah, if someone is potter from sitting in a sukkah, and he goes in and he sits in sukkah, he is called a hedjit. Called a potter midover ve'osehu. If you're potter on something and you do it, you're called a hedjit. A simple thing to talk. Asked her in Yom Tov, you're worse than a hedjit. You're worse than that. The Moshe says, you're nene me atse sukkah. You're not allowed to have hanoah from the wood, the atse sukkah, shaloi b'mokim mitzvah. That's halacha. Now, here the fellow, it's raining outside, and he goes inside the sukkah. He's gaining. He's not out in the torrential rain. He's inside the sukkah. It's raining, but not that bad. No, he's not gaining. He's nene me atse sukkah. Shaloi b'mokim mitzvah. No mitzvah. It's not ke'ein taduru. So it's worse than a hedjit. Why did the Shulchan Aruch, the Ramah say? He's a hedjit. It's worse than a hedjit. He's a nene me'atzi sukkah. Having a nof amatzi sukkah. Shaloi b'mokim mitzvah. It's worse than that. Kasha. Oini Gumtiv. Says the Ragged when it rains on sukkahs, ein Shem sukkah. Mamish this chiddush. It's not a Shem sukkah. The Shem sukkah is dependent on a mokum dire, mokum pito, that I should be able to eat there. If I can't eat there, not because it's bugs, not because it's a bad smell, ich kenne nicht das, because the porridge is being spoiled, because Yod Kshamim, the Michael, it's not a mokum pito, not a mokum pito, it's not a mokum dire, ein Shem sukkah. So he says, that's why the Rambam split it. Right, in different halachas. There's one halacha called mitzvah. Mitzvah bleibt the sukkah, just as a ptur in the Maisi Yeshiva, or the Yod Kshamim Ein Shem sukkah. Is that good? Right, and that's why that takes care of the kasha of nene me'atzi sukkah, nishkin atzi sukkah. It's nene from atzi booth, but that's nishkin sukkah. Right? And if there's no kasha, nene me'atzi sukkah, the Ragged. Now 1 minute. Where did the Achroinim see this shayla? This is a famous shayla. And we know this in Shulchan Aruch Hayodam, Halacha L'maisa. This is something we show you. The first night of Sukkah. Must I eat in the Sukkah? Yes. How do you know you must eat in the Sukkah? Get pas and eat in the Sukkah. How do I know? What was that? Tezvov, mechag hamatzis. Bo erev toichlu matzis. Pesach night, you must get matzah and eat matzah. So the first night of Sukkot, you must get yourself pas. You have to get pas and sit and eat in the Sukkah. The rest of the days, you want to eat potatoes, eat potatoes. Drink some soda, that's fine. Outside the Sukkah, good. But on the first night of Sukkah, you are mechuyev. Tezvav mechag hamatzis, it's exeris of it. You are mechuyev to sit in Sukkah on the first night. Now comes the shayla. Many Rishonim, Rosh, Ran, they say, if you learn out Tezvav mechag hamatzis, just like by Pesach, there's no ptur of mitzvah here by Pesach night. It's unheard of. Teishvu ke'en taduru is only by Sukkot, by Pesach night. You eat matzah even though you're a mitzvah, a little bit bugs, a little bit bad smell. What's halacha? You're mechuyev. So first night of Sukkot, tezvav mechag hamatzis, you're mechuyev in all cases. You're mechuyev. That's how the Rishonim paskin. Many Rishonim, Ran, Rosh, Shulchan Aruch, right? You're mechuyev first night. And other Rishonim say no. No, tezvav just makes it that I am mechuyev to sit in Sukkah on the first night with its guidelines. Teishvu ke'en taduru. On the first night I'm potter, even if it's mitzvah or exam. Now, this is where it comes to Shiur. What about if it rains on the first night? And the Shulchan Aruch paskins, many Rishonim, Ran, Rosh, just like mitzvah. There is no ptur mitzvah the first night, and Yorduk Shamim is a ptur mitzvah. It's not ke'en taduru. First night, if it's raining, you go inside, you sit in the sukkah. You're mechuyev. And other Rishonim hold, no, maybe not. No, maybe Yorduk Shamim is different. Maybe not. Now, the longest of this shaila is the way we're saying. Right? Rabbi Shlomo Zalman said, how does Yorduk Shamim? Is it a ptur mitzvah? It's a simple ptur. It's bleibt das sukkah. Sukkah remains Hashem's sukkah. I am potter. Right? In my Maisi Yeshiva, Zat Ke'en Taduru. All right? The first night, there's no ptur kein taduru, so Yorduk Shamim is mechuyev, mitzvah is mechuyev, the bugs are mechuyev, all the mechuyev. Yorduk Shamim is a simple ptur mitzvah. But if you learn that Yorduk Shamim is a new ptur, ein shem sukkah, it's a different sort of ptur. About it's based on taduru, but it's a prat in taduru. It's nishkin shem sukkah. Mitzvah is like a chayav on the first night. Right? There's no ptur kein taduru. Something which is not a shame sukkah, you cannot make something which is not a sukkah into a shem sukkah based on exeris shava. It doesn't work like that. If on the first night, maybe mitzvah is takachaya, but Yorduk Shamim is potter. Now we're going to see. The Vilna Goyen says, listen to this. Halacha l'maisa. What do we do? Mr. Brewer, if it rains the first night, and you see it's not letting up. What's halacha, Mr. Brewer? You go in, okay, you don't make the family wait up too long. You go in, you may go inside, on the bracha, because many Rishonim hold, you're mechuyev on the first night. If it's mitzvah, you're Rishonim, you're mechuyev. You go inside the sukkah right away. Now, according to many, you have not yet fulfilled the mitzvah, no leishet. You got to wait. You have to wait. Rabbi, you got to wait. Because according to many Rishonim, you have not fulfilled the mitzvah. And we're talking about a chiyuv de'raisa, obligated. You're mechuyev to sit in sukkah. He says, try to stay up. Please, stay up till chatzois. Try to stay up as long as you can to fulfill a mitzvah de'raisa. You hear, this is not just if you do it. You are mechuyev to do it. And according to many Rishonim, you have not yet fulfilled the mitzvah. Please, try to stay up as long as you can. Okay? Says the Vilna Goyen, Mishnah Berurah brings it from the Maisarav, the Vilna Goyen, Osir Lishon Kol Halayla. If it's raining, Osir Lishon, you're not allowed to sleep the whole night. Now the Mishnah Berurah in the Sharat Sion on the bottom says, I don't understand that. This is a little bit odd. The Chayodim says it's proper. It's try to stay up as long. Osir Lishon. If it hits 3 in the morning, the man went in. He went in at 9 o'clock. Like those shittas that hold up mitzvah is chayiv, he went in at 9. And if it's 3 in the morning and he wasn't mekayim the mitzvah yet, according to the other Rishonim hold, that mitzvah was potter. At 3 in the morning, I'm potter. What do I gain? Osir lishon kala. Maybe we'll let up at 4:30 in the morning. But I'm a mitzvah. What did I gain? I'm still potter. Like the shittas that hold up mitzvah is chayiv, I went in at 9 o'clock. Like the shittas are all the mitzvahs, but try to stay up. You're mechuyev to do a mitzvah. But osir lishon, if you're going to stay up till 3:30, 4:30, the man's plots. What do you gain? It says that in the Mishnah Berurah. It doesn't mean osir lishon. No. It means try. It doesn't really mean it. The Vilna Goyen didn't mean. Okay. But other Meforshim say Pshat in the Vilna Goyim. What did the Vilna Goyim do? The Vilna Goyim held like this. On the first night of Sukkot, Mitztayer is 100% Chayiv. No Ptur of Tezvav, of Teshu King Taduru. Because you learn out Tezvav, Mechag HaMatzah, no Ptur Mitztayer on the first night. Your Dukshomim is potter. If it rains, Ein Shem Sukkot. That's your potter. But Mitztayer, there's no Ptur on the first night. Therefore, if you're a Mitztayer holds the Vilna Goyim, Mitztayer is Takechayev. Right? Your Dukshomim is potter. Good. So it was raining at 9 o'clock. According to the Vilna Goyim, if it rains at 9 o'clock, you're a potter. You're not Mekayim the Mitzvah. Osir Lishon Kol Alaylo. Because, what? You're a Mitztayer. 3, 3:30, 4. Man, it's a real Mitztayer. That's part of life. Mitztayer is Chayev. And so the Vilna Goyim only said it on your Dukshomim. Ein Shem Sukkot. He didn't say it on Mitztayer. I know the Mishabura Rabbi says did not learn like it. The Hillel, the Chofetz Chaim did. But the others learn up that that's the Pshat in the Vilna Goyim. Osir Lishon Kol Alaylo, that the Vilna Goyim split between your Dukshomim and Mitztayer. We're doing good. What did we ask? We began today with Akash. We said Akash from the Ran. The Ran says, what do I need? A Shiur of Tisach HaMikveh. You have to tell me Shiurim. It's relative. By me, it bothers me a little rain. What do you have to give me a Shiur of Tisach HaMikveh, of the porridge? The soup got spoiled. Just say if the fellow's a Mitzvah, any amount of rain makes it butter. That was Akash. That's what we said. Now, it will hold like the Goyim with this longness. I need Tisach HaMikveh. Tisach HaMikveh, that's a Shiur to make it Ein Shem Sukkah. You're right. Any amount of rain will make me potter as a Mitztayer. But to make it on the first night, according to the Goyim, if it rains, you're potter. Right? Not Mekayim the Mitzvah. If it's Tisach HaMikveh, if it's a Shiur of Tisach, you can't eat there. It's not a Mokim Pito. That's when it becomes Ein Shem Sukkah. Right? But if not, it's just a simple Mitztayer. Nafkamine on the first night. That according to the Goyim, when will it be? Ein Shem Sukkah. That will only be Bazakis. Tomazish will be a Poshta Mitztayer. Maybe you'll be Mechuyet. Nafkamine. We asked the Kasha before. Remember, Nene me Atse Sukkah. Oh, you're gaining from the Atse Sukkah. What do we answer? Oh, Ein Shem Sukkah. When will it be Ein Shem Sukkah? That's only Tisach HaMikveh to that degree. Why didn't the Ran answer this? The Ran didn't say Ar Teretz, L'Cheretz Gold, and Lombus. Why didn't the Ran say? The Ran, the Shitosoi, says on Chavov, like the sheet of the Rosh, like the sheet of the Ran. The Ran says on Chavov that you're Mechuyev by your Dukshomim on the first night, just like every Mitztayer. Because the Ran understood your Dukshomim is a simple Ptur of Mitztayer, not Ein Shem Sukkah. It's you can live in a Shem Sukkah with a Ptur Mitztayer. It's the simple Ptur Mitzvah. The Ran, Chavov, sounds good. So the Ran asks, what do I need a Shiur of Tisach HaMikveh? It's relative. By me, it's a little bit rain. It makes me Mitztayer. The Ran, the Shitosoi, that he learned, it's a simple Ptur of Mitztayer. Efrek Samzach. He asked the Ran, what do I need a Shiur? Tisach HaMikveh. Just say any amount. And that the Ran says his Chiddush, that what? You're right. Any amount makes me potter. Once I'm already in there, it's not right to leave. It looks like I'm boyet. Remember, it looks like I'm kicking the sukkah. The Ran's teretz. But it could be if we go with the Vilna Goyim, if we go with the Rambam, with this shite, ganz good. That will be a good teretz on this kasha. Why do I need Tisach HaMikveh? That makes it Ein Shem Sukkah. Good. So again, the Ram, the Shitosai, the Ram, it's a simple Ptur. No, Frekta Shenekash. So there's ein teretz. So if we go with this, that could be a good shtickle. Rabbi Chaim Oizer from Philadelphia, he loved the shtickle. This is a good shtickle. Okay, 1, 2. Now let's get this. My son told me over Akash, I saw Gedruk, something new, which is not for Rabbi Moshe finds on this, which is not in the Igris Moshe, not published. It's from his Kedusha Torah. They published it in a Sefer, a country's, a Gavaldig Akash. What did we just say over? Many Rishonim ran Rosh. First night, no Ptur Mitztayer. No Ptur Yord Dukshomim, no Ptur, because there's no Ptur on the first night. Good? That's it. Like this. So Moshe, I had a gewaldige kasha. Listen to this kasha. Listen to this. A Gemara. He says, I have a Gemara. Listen to this. Mem Zayin Amar Aleph. Now, there comes Shmini Atzeres. We know we sit in Sukkot. Yesuvei Yasbinon. We sit in the Sukkot. Bruchei Loi Mevarchina. But we don't make a bracha. Shushan says, Leishev Basukot. Because it would be a tar to the sasri. On one hand, there's no Lulav, right? We don't take the Lulav in Esri, so it's not considered by us Sukkos. And you're going to make a bracha, also Sofi. Okay. Says the Gemara, listen to this. Says the Gemara, Omer Rabbi Yosef, Mem Zayin Omer Aleph. Something new. Listen good. Nekoyte Rabbi Yechon B'yodcha. This is the way to go. To Rav Huna Bar Bizna V'chol G'doyle Hador. Came to a sukkah b'shmini, Sofik Shmini, and Shmini it says it was a Sofik, Chutz Lords, right? Mesa Vaviyasi. They sat in the sukkah. Bruche lo bruche. Oh, but they didn't make a bloch. Okay. Says the Gemara, what's your proof? You want to prove your point that they didn't make a bloch? Dilma Spir Lu Command Yalman. Given Shabirach Yom Tefrishim, Shub Ein Mevorach. There's a shita, Mem Vov Amanal. Big chiddush. We don't pass it. That if you make a bracha on the first night of Sukkot, that's it. That helps for all the days. You don't have to make a new bracha. Maybe that's why. Maybe theoretically, Yesuvei Yasvinun, and also maybe we do make a bracha. But they weren't going to make a bracha because they made a bracha on the first night. If you make a bracha on the first night, there is such a shita that potters all the other nights. Maybe. Says the Gemara, listen. Gemiri, we have a tradition. We know that what happened here. The Me'afar also. They came from the meadow. The first days of Sukkot. They weren't at home. They couldn't make a Sukkot. They were out there in the fields, in the meadow. Okay? Rashi says, their cattle is pasturing there, so they're a roya. If you're a roya, you're a shomer ganois upardesim. You're guarding a garden. Or a pardes, an orchard, you're put from sukkah. You know why? Because it's not called ke'ein ta duru. In your own house, sometimes you leave your house, you make a trip, a business trip, you don't have to stick around in your house. So your sukkahs also. You're not believed to stick around in your sukkah. If you happen to be a roa behemah, that's it, you're allowed to go. It's ke'ein ta duru. That's your potter from sukkah. If they did not make a bracha. Don't tell me that they made a bracha on the first night, because they didn't make a bracha on the first night. They weren't mechuyev in sukkah. Moshe says, I asked my fathers if they made a bracha. Appella and loitaran, according to the Ran, and according to the Rosh, according to these Rishonim, that on the first night there is no p'tur mitztayer. No p'tur yordu shamim. Why? Because you're allowed tezvav. We learn out Xeris Shabbat. The Chagamat says, tonight, no p'tur of Ke'ein Toduru. First night. Can you explain this, Gemara? Explain this. It says they were out in the field, and therefore what? But on the first night, no p'tur. Somehow you'll have to make it out there in the field, in the meadow. On the first night, according to these Rishonim, there's no p'tur of Ke'ein Toduru. That means not just Mitztayer, it means Shomrei Ganos, Holchei Drochim, Helchei Yamim, all the Gemaras on Chavav, that these people are potter because it's not Ke'ein Ta Duru. But on the first night, no p'tur of Ke'ein Ta Duru. Tell me Pshat. Pshat in this Gemara. Why did they have to sit in Sukkot? They had to make a bracha. This is a strong question. Very strong. Okay? That Moshe asked his father, Reb David Feinstein, back home in Luban. Good kasha. So his father answered him. You have to hear this. A teretz. With longest. His father wanted to say, a chiddush gadol, a big chiddush. Something new. Listen to this. We just said over Tezvav. The first night, Xeris Shabbat, Tezvav, no p'tur came to do. His father wanted to be mechalik. His father wanted to say, maybe there's two types of p'tur in Kain Taduru. There's one p'tur, listen, I want to sit in sukkah. Okay, I'm able to, but there's bugs there, there's a bad odor there. On the first night of sukkah, no business. Tezvav says, you're in mechuyev. Forget about your bugs and forget about your odor and this. Just like by Maggid. What happens if the gaver is a mensch? He's such a person who is a hilchei drochim, hilchei yamin. He's on a trip someplace, right? He's a Shomer Ganos Upardesim. He's this fellow who's a royer. Big Kiddush. His father wanted to say that maybe even on the first night, there still is a p'tur of it's not ke'ein toduru. If it's a mitztayer, B'shad meaning is, I would love to, but it is, it's just a external. That goes off. And then that's your mechuyev on the first night. But if you're holchei drachim, this Kiddush here, a holchei yamim, maybe the roeh, these people, even the first night, are going to be potter from Sukkot, and that's what happened in this Gemara. You hear? This is what he wanted to say. No, I said like this. A Kiddush. I remember this from years ago. We learn out Mitztayer is potter, Toisves, Chavavim and Aleph, Holchei Drachim. People go on the way in this. Why are they potter? Teishvu, Toisves, Klor, Rashi, Teishvu ke'ein taduru. The way you sit in your house, in your own house, you would take a trip, you go out, you're not going to stick around. People go. So the same thing by Sukkos. That's all. Okay? Shomer Gano is by Desim. It's based on ke'ein taduru. Ramban, listen to this. Ramban of Chumash, Parshas Emor. Kol ha'ezrach be'Yisrael yeshvu ba'Sukkot. Pasuk Chumash. All the Ezrach, all the Jewish people, sit in Sukkot. Kol ha'ezrach. What does that mean? Ramban of Chumash. And the Ritva brings it in Sukkot. Kol ha'ezrach means ranon. The fellow is fresh. He's fresh. He's, remember, Tishenim v'ra'ananim you. Lafuke, it's coming to exclude Hilchei Drochim, Hilchei Yamim. A new tour. Listen to this. A new tour called Ho'ezrach. That if you're Hilchei Drochim, you're part of Sukkot. It's not in my Gemara. My Gemara Teisa says it's from where Teishu Ke'ein Taduru. It's a Teisa verse. The Ramban, it's a Naya Pasuk. We don't need a new Pasuk. What's the matter with Teishu Ke'ein Taduru? Which would seem that there's one tour called Teishu Ke'ein Taduru in the Maisi Yeshiva. I'd love to see Sukkot. There's bugs there. There's an odor. That goes off on the first night. I'm sorry. No tour. There's another tour, an independent tour, called Kol HaEzrach. You have to be in a matzav of ranon. You have to be in a good, happy mood, right? To be able to sit in Sukkot, maybe a little bit with the Taz. You'll be able to have kavoneh. Taz says that's the reason mitzvah. But it's Kol HaEzrach, ranon. That Holchei Drochim, Holchei Yamim are potter, not because of Kein Taduru. A new Ptur, Kol HaEzrach. Okay, maybe in that Ptur, Kol HaEzrach, that you have to be ranon, and even on the first night, that I do learn out Tezvov, Mechag HaMatzis, that will only negate the bugs, baki, and the mosquitoes, and this. Or maybe they call it the Holchei Drochim, the Shomer Ganois, of the Roim, of this Gemara, Mem Zayin of the Roim, are going to still be potter. Really ganz good. They did not sit in Sukkot. Meforshim has a Svashem has a source. G'doili Hador. Cold. Let's read it. The whole G'doili Hador. All they didn't sit in Sukkot. They couldn't find themselves an eitzah. Don't you try to find a way. The Marshal was supposed to say, in the name of the Marshal, that it was time of Gzeres Malchus. They weren't able to sit in Sukkot. Okay, but the Blush B'Shad, they didn't sit. You're talking, that's a Moshe's Kasha, that's a David's Teretz, we're just handing on. Maybe using this Ramban would be a good teretz. Okay? A good teretz on this Kasha. Okay. Now one thing more. In Lumbus. Listen to this. The Mishnah says, if it rains, we just did the Mishnah, what's halacha? You're allowed to leave. Mishatisrach hamikveh with the porridge. Now, if you look in Rambam, it says, if it starts to rain on Sukkot, in the Torah it says, Yordu Kshamim, Yachol Lotzeis. You may leave, but in Rambam it says, Yordu Kshamim, Harezen Nichnas L'Techabais. The fellow must enter into the house. Sounds like it's a directive. You are Harezen. Where did the Rambam get it from? Every word of the Rambam, the Gemara, has to be a source. What's Tutzat? But where did he get it from? The Mishnah says, Mehimesai mutter lafanis. When may he? It sounds like you must. So where did the Rambam get this from? So in Londis, wait, we could say, remember the Oinig Yom Tiv's Kasha, it's much worse than a hedjit. It's also to sit in the sukkah because you're nene meyatze sukkah. You're gaining from the Shaloi b'mokim mitzvah. Maybe that's what the Rambam got. You must go into this. Not Moshe. The Rambam is the one that split the halachas. And we said before, remember the Rambam brings mitzvah in one place, you have the gshamim in another. Ein Shem sukkah. It's Pokad Hashem. Pokad Hashem sukkah. There's no Yisrael man. And also the source. Avoid the mocker. The Rambam has to say Sachen based on a Gemara. Where is the source? Good. A nice kasha. A nice stand. A nice stand. Where did the Rambam get it from? How do you say? Maybe like this. Listen to this. A Gemara. Remember we said the Mishnah, it's like the servant that comes to pour the kois to his master, and the master pours it right back on him. I don't want your service. Right? It's a siman klol if it rains during Sukkot. That is a quote from a Mishnah. Listen, like Gemara, Choftes. Now it sounds like I got it, Gemara, a little bit druth, right? Well, let's hear this. Listen. Iboyelahu mi shafach lami. Remember the Mishnah said the servant came, poured it over. Who poured the cup on whom? The Posh said, and the master took the cup and maybe poured it right back on the fellow. Is that the Posh? Mi shafach lemi. Who poured it to who? Is it the Ebed to the Rav or the Rav to the Ebed? Tashema, the shafach like Rabbi kitanabam. The master poured it out upon him. Family says, I don't want your service. Rashi, let's learn. Right. Mi shafach lemi. Rashi says, Ebed l'Rabbi. Okay, go. Moshe Eved was doing a service, not a proper service to his master. Okay? So one way is it's your service. Mitzad klal yisrael. If we sit in sukkah when it's raining, it shows somehow it's not proper. The master is pouring it on us. Go out from here. I don't want yours. Both ways. You read as hakshamim on sukkahs. Is shvichat akisim. You poured out this cup. Both ways it's a siman klola, says Rashi. I have to know pshat. I don't know pshat in the Mishnah. Who poured on who? That's what's found in the Gemara. And the Gemara answers, you should know. It's from the master to the servant. We're doing okay? So again, both ways it's a siman klola. Either it's my sitting or it's the master's pouring. It's a siman klola. But tell me pshat. Is it this way or this way? Listen to this. The Rosh in the back of the Gemara quotes this Gemara. The Rosh asked the Korban Nesanel on the bottom of the Rosh. The Rosh is a posek halachis. The Riff paskins halachis. We want to tell me a drush, a Gemara. This Gemara is a drush. I got it there. Which way is it going? Is it going this way or this way? What does this have to do with halacha? The Riff and the Rosh should quote this Gemara and end up the master portion. Says the Korban Nesanel, back of the Gemara, from the Marshal, and they bring. He found it in the Ritva, one of the Rishonim. Pshat in the Gemara was like this. We know you don't sit in sukkah when it's raining. It's a siman hedged, that it's like a clothing, But is it mitzad my service to the master? If so, don't run out. It's not nice. But if the shot is that the master is pouring the water on you, then as soon as it starts to rain, miyad, you should leave miyad. You know how he says it? That is the shaila of the Gemara. It wasn't just a shaila. A little bit drush. Which way are we going? This way or this way? No, it's a shaila in halacha. It's a shaila. Must you leave immediate or not? The Ritva says like this. Ritva says, if the pshat is that as soon as I see that the master, okay, then so if it's based on my sitting there, so calm down. Don't run out right away. Okay, my sitting and then it's raining. It's not right to leave immediately. But if you end up shaharav shoyfich levet, that the Rav poured it on that. Out. And he says, I found him in the Ritva, this pshat. That's what he says. And that's why the Riff and the Rosh bring it lahalocha, to say out if it starts to rain. You don't prava the frumkai and stay a little bit longer. It's like the master did it. Arois. Riff and the Rosh. Could be that's where the Rambam got it. We asked, where did the Rambam get Harezen Nichnas? A directive. You go into the house. The Mishnah says, Mutter lefanos. Could be he got it from this Gemara. That the Gemara ended up that the master poured it on him, and the Riff and the Rosh bring it to Halachic to say, out, arois, right? No staying a little bit, okay? Arois. Because that's where the Rambam also got it. Halachic harei nichnas utei habayis. The piece of Rambam is just saying, not every Rambam can benefit with grace along this with the Chaim's Teicha. There's a little shot based on this Gemara. Me shafach me, and the Gemara ends up. The Rav did it. The Rambam got harei nichnas. You don't just yochel lotzes. And b'chuyev too, that could be a shot in this Gemara. Okay, there's a little bit I got it here. There's one thing Sukkos avoid. That I saw a shtel. I saw that Mishabura brings that it's proper to shake the lulav in the sukkah. You know, some people do such a minhag. They take the esin lulav in the sukkah and they shake it, and then they come back for halal. Okay. Or other people do it in the morning. What's this in of lulav? Take the daled minim in the sukkah. What's the shaykhs of daled minim? The sukkah. Sukkah is Zeichel Yitzias Mitzrayim. Zeichel Anane Kovet. Okay, it's a nice mitzvah. Lulav, Esed, daled minim, the four groups of coins. Right? This is Torah with mitzvahs, this mitzvahs without Torah. Is there a shaykhs of Lulav in this sukkah? What is this? I really didn't see if I found the Netziv in Hameg Dovor, Parshas Emor. He discusses it. He wants to say, he doesn't bring this halacha, but he says that both are from the same shirish. Along these lines, he says that people sat in sukkah on their way. When you'd go out to Milchama, they would sit in the sukkah. He says, and after Kal Yisrael, after Rosh Kippur, remember the Medrash says that it's as if up in Shemayim, the Goyim and Klal Yisrael came to a din, and we don't know who was victorious. Klal Yisrael carried the lulav. That shows we were victorious. The din, he says, it's like a chayal sits in a sukkah, shakes the lulav. We're like Malach. Let's say with our nusach along these lines. This Rabbi Dessler, Zecher writes in Michtav Me'Elio. Why is Sukkos a follow-up right after Rosh Hashanah Yom Kippur? Is there a hemshich here? What's the connection? Rabbi Dessler says in Gevaldig, listen good. He says in Rosh Hashanah Yom Kippur, a person has a spiritual high. Gewaldig. He speaks about Achashal to be Sachim. Uyso Avakish and Balchi Yisechloinis. The man's like a Malach on Yom Kippur. Like a Malach. You tell him, don't go back to the mundane world. You want to keep up your Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur. That Harangein in a sukkah. Go into a sukkah, sit there for 7 days and contemplate Abyss. That this world is a diras aroi. Think Abyss. Now Moshe brings, the Payat says, Shkula mitzvah sukkah keneged kol ha-Torah, kol ha-mitzvahs. The mitzvah of sukkah is equal to kol ha-mitzvahs, the kol ha-Torah kula. Where does it say it? Python, the Yoitzer brings it. It says here Moshe, because sitting in a sukkah is a catalyst, a locomotive. A person thinks to himself, why am I sitting in a sukkah? This built is not forever. It's a diras aroi that will help him throughout the year in his avodas Hashem. So again, after Rosh Kippur we say, go sit in the sukkah and think a little bit. Be mamshich your Rosh Hashanah Yom Kippur. Now the Torah says, remember, why do we sit in sukkah now? Which is in the sukkah Pesach time. Just put now. What is the Torah answer? It doesn't make sense. It happened Pesach. They say it doesn't time. So what is the Torah answer? If we would do it then, the Goyim would say, oh, they love it. Everyone's going out to the gazebo. Very nice out there. But if the fellow goes in now out to a sukkah, when everybody else is going in, that shows he's doing it for mitzvahs melech. He's doing it because the Rebbeinu says to do it. Well, maybe we should do Chanukah in the middle of Tammuz. Does that make sense? If you're supposed to do it in Pesach time, Seichel says Mitzrayim. So you switch the date to Tishrei to show Chanukah has to be Chafei Kislev. Make it in the middle of Tammuz. We switch dates here. How does that work? What's that about? We are mamshich of the Malchis. And Rosh Hashanah, a fellow said, Hashem Melech. Do you mean it? Or we just said it on Rosh Hashanah. So after Rosh Hashanah, you go into a sukkah and I show mitzvahs Melech. I do mitzvahs because the Rebbeinu says, Hinni buchem zum lekayim mitzvahs boiri. Mitzvahs Melech. Now daled minim. Remember the four groups? You said on Rosh Hashanah Kippur, V'yosu chulom al kuto akas. And the Simcha Zissel, the Alta from Killam, all speak about Rosh Hashanah Yom Kippur, daven for the cloud. Did you mean it? Well, it was a fake. A fellow did it on Rosh Hashanah Yom Kippur, have a good sweet year. We told him, Rosh Hashanah Yom Kippur, be mamshich, continue it into the Sukkos, and let's see, keep it up. Right? The Lulav is done in the Sukkah. It's both are from the same shirish. The purpose here is we want to retain lahamshich, to keep up your Rosh Hashanah Kippur. Gate anayin in a Sukkah. Right? Shake this and Lulav in the Sukkah. Be mamshich what you had in Rosh Hashanah Kippur. Keep it up. That could be a good shot. Listen to this. Listen to this. Remember it says Medrash, Ulakachtem lochem. By Yom HaRishon. Says the Medrash, what does it mean? Rishon, Ulakachtem lochem, B'yoim Tezbov, on the 15th. What's this Yom HaRishon? It says Rishon lecheshboin avoinus. It's the first day of avoinus. The Medrash makes a cheshbon. The days after Yom Kippur, those 4 days in between, people are so busy with the Essig and Lulav and building the Sukkah, they have no time for Chet. Rishon, when does it start? The Cheshbon or Avoinus, the first time Rachel makes it is the first day of Sukkot. So I saw Pshat from the base of Ephraim. You know the base of Ephraim was? His name was Ephraim Zalman Margolius. The Kedolim lived in the 1700s, 1800s. Ephraim Zalman Margolius. He says like a Valdi and Pshat. What does it mean? Rishon Lecheshbon Avoinus. That Nusach for the counting of Avoinus. Lecheshbon. A drush, but he said a Gavaldi Pshat. The Vilna Goyen says, remember in Pirkei Avos, Din vecheshbon. What is din and what's cheshbon? Din, says the Vilna Goyen, is you did a mitzvah, you did an aveira, we'll punish you, we'll give you schar. Now cheshbon means, okay, we took care of your aveiras, but cheshbon, at the time that you did the aveira, you could have done a mitzvah, you just wasted your time, and we're going to mourn from you cheshbon at that time that you did an aveira. You could have done mitzvahs, and we're going to claim from you. Good, we took care of your deen. Oh, but what's it with cheshbon? That's the pshat from the Vilna Goyen. Says the base of Ryan. There's 2 types of tshuva. Tshuva me'ira, tshuva me'ava. Now, if it does a tshuva me'ira, as the Gemara says, the aveiras turn into shegagos. Okay, we won't punish you, but it still remains cheshbon. Rabbi, at that time that you did the shogeg, you could have done mitzvahs, and we're going to claim from you cheshbon. But if a fellow does a tshuva me'avo, says the Gemara, it turns into zechuyos. Someone goes off the cheshbon. At that moment you did mitzvahs. Somehow that caused you to do the tshuva me'avo. There's no cheshbon. It says big Safrayim. Listen to this, he says. Rosh Hashanah Yom Kippur, it says in the Payat, in the Yoitzeres, in Bris, they learned all the Yoitzeres. You know it. You listen. It says, after Rosh Hashanah Yom Kippur, I did a tshuva me'ira. Say, so it's true, the deen went off. But still, what's with cheshbon? Come Sukkos. That's the time of Zman Simchosenu. That's a tshuva me'avo. Tshuva me'avo, then the cheshbon will also go off. It says Rishon lecheshbon avoinus. Now on Sukkot, now can start the cheshbon, because there won't be a problem. What are we going to claim? At that time you could have done mitzvahs. It turned into mitzvahs because there was a tshuva me'ahave. That's who says Rishon lecheshbon avoinus. That's the base of life. Listen, the Kleyoker asks, "Ulakachtem lochem, b'yoim harishon, rishon lecheshbon avoinus." He asked the Kleyoker, why did the Medrash? Why did the Pasuk shtell it? Why did the Pasuk put it by the Lulav? You want to say it and put it by the Sukkah. You can say Sukkah station and say some kind of Pasuk by Yoim or Rishon, and also make a nice drasha. Rishon lecheshbon avoinus. Why did they put it by the Lulav? Good kasha, Kleyoker. The Avo is mispatei. Where do you see the Avo, the Simcha? Ulakachtem lochem, usmachtem. The Avo, the Simcha of Sukkot, it's shown by the Lulav. The Sefer HaChinuch says, even the Goyim, if you take a Lulav and Esther, you take these meaning, it brings out joy. It does. It brings Simcha. That's where the Tshuva Me'ahave is. Good? Not by the Sukkah. Sukkot is a mitzvah, but the ahav is in the lulav. Ganz good. So rishon lecheshben avonis, that it becomes a tshuva may ahav is in the lulav. In the lulav we show the ahav. So that could be a good shot. And one last one. Let's listen to this. Gemara says, famous Gemara. Some of you heard this, which is unbelievable. A Gemara by a simple Sheiva. Hillel, the famous Hillel, used to say, Imani kan. Remember this Gemara? Nun Gimel Sukkah. Hillel would say, Imani kan hakoil kan. If I am here, hakoil kan. What does that mean? Life of the party? If I'm here, Imani kan hakoil kan. And what does that mean? Explain this one. So Rashi says, what does it mean? Imani kan. And Rashi says, the Shechina, the Rabbi says, if you do my Torah and my mitzvahs, Ani kan. My Shechina will come to the Beis HaMikdash. But for Imani kan, if you don't learn Torah and do mitzvahs, Mi kan, my Shechina is not going to come to the Beis HaMikdash. Good? Good. Now, Rabbeinu Hananel, on the side of the Gemara, okay? And Toysus, quote, Ayuru Shalmi. This is like a Balbig Pshat. That every yeshiva boy has to know this. He says like this. What does this Gemara mean? Imani kan. The Rebbe has plenty of malachim up in heaven that say shiris b'sish bochois, praises to Hashem. So when the Rebbe sees Kleisel doing their avodas Hashem, and they do it bepachas, quickly, says the Rebbe, what do I need your praises? I have malachim up there. But when he sees Kleisel do the service, the shiris b'sish bochois, b'kosher, they do it properly, slow. Medaven v'ya mensch. Person davens slowly like a mensch, and he's singing Shiur of Sukkot. Says the Rebbe, this is what I want, even though I have plenty of malachim. I want it from you. Now, how does this fit into Imani kan hakoil kan? That's a nice shot about davening like a mensch. How does it fit into the words? So Reb Shmuel Rozovsky is a we learned him. Remember, Reb Shmuel, his title, Rosh Yeshiva of Ponevezh. Reb Shmuel said Pshat. Imani kan means the Yid. Listen to what he said. What's the difference between a mensch and a Malach? What distinguishes man from an angel? He says, a Malach is kuloi sichli. The Seichel, Mechoil, Gabriel, Rafael. It's unbelievable. But you know what a person has over a Malach? Says Reb Shmuel, you know what we have? We have a heart, a lave. A Malach has seichel, but he doesn't have a heart. You hear this? You remember Dorothy from Alice in Wonderland? It was called the Tin Man. The Tin Man means Nishkenanas. A Yid, right? A person has a mila over a Malach. He has neshama. Says the Rebbe. If you do it quick, davens it, says the Rebbe. So what do I need it for? Because you said it. But if it's without heart, I have plenty of malachim, shichlim, who have much more seichel, intelligence than boss of Adam, than man. But if Klal Yisrael davens like a mensch, imani kan, now he fits the words now. Imani means the mensch with the ganzkeit. Imani kan, the whole, the total. The mensch, total. Within the neshama, with heart. Says the Rebbe, if you daven like a mensch, learn to be a mensch. With neshama, with heart. Says the Rebbe, that's what I'm looking for. The neshama from a Yid. The avos HaTorah. Right? This is unbelievable. If it's done properly, Imani kan. Hillel, he was the epitome. Remember Hillel on the roof, right? The winter night, cold winter, right? And he was up there. Remember, the snow came on him. That was the spitz, the epitome. He represents what it meant. Avos HaTorah. He was oblivious. He didn't even know that the snow. The Gemara says they can Chal Shabbos for him. Right? That's how sick he was. He was about to die from. He didn't even know that the snow fell. The Avos HaTorah of Hillel, and he was the one that said, Imani kan. Hillel was the one that said, Imeina anili mili. Always the ani of the person is the mensch. What does the mensch have? His neshama. Rachmono liba boy. Every yeshiva boy has to know this. The Rebbe is waiting. Rachmono liba boy. How much neshama, how much a person puts into it. We should all be like. I want to wish my good friend, Rabbi Goldberg, he's Zoberman, soll sein gesund nicht stark as Chus. If you have a base medrash here to be able to come here, you should have Hatzloche ubroche. And the Mordechai, the Rish HaKodesh, have Naches ubroche, Matzliach lahagdil Torah v'yadil.